Good morning, Internet. This is Cat Tiger, aka Blind Cat Blues, and I have been tagged to do the VIP Vision-Impaired questions. So, thank you to Samantha Colman for tagging me. I thought you did awesome in your video, especially for you, if that was your first video. Wow, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I don't think that's just too stressful for me. But yeah, thank you very much for tagging me, and I hope you guys like these questions. So, first off was my braille display's gone to sleep. Lovely. Okay. Question 1. What medical condition caused you to be vision impaired or blind? Okay, well, primarily it is retinopathy of prematurity, and glaucoma are the ones that caused and have caused my vision loss. I also have dancing eyes. Thanks, Molly Burke. I will borrow that description. That is nystagmus. So, yeah, dancing eyes. Okay, and so I was always vision impaired my whole life. Up until 25, it was relatively stable, give or take around 10%. I had a few little niggling things with glaucoma, but yes, relatively the same. And then when I was 25, my retina went and detached, and had to have surgery for it. We attached it, and the surgery was a success, but it wasn't as good as what we'd hoped. But in saying that, I don't mean to sound ungrateful. I am very grateful that I have got light reception back, and even a little bit of color sometimes. So, yes. Okay, number 2 is, in 3 words, describe your vision. 3 words. That's kind of hard, especially for me. I hate generalizing. I could think of a really nice acronym that would fit this, but let's keep it clean and a bit more descriptive. So, I'm going to pick 3 points and I'm going to elaborate on them. So first I'd say foggy. So it's kind of like there's a smoke or a cloud or fog around over everything. It's like grey and white, kind of. It makes everything blurry and indistinctive, kind of, and even washes out the colours of things. So point 1 is foggy. Number 2, I'd say narrow. That's pretty simple in itself. So just a very narrow field of vision that I can see through. Yeah, I'd say probably in about a 5-cent piece or something. I don't know. I've never got really a measurement, and if I have, I can't remember. So anyway, whatever. And number 3, for lack of a better word, I could not think how to put this into a word. The best thing I could come up with or think of was sparkling. And by sparkles, I mean I kind of have like lots of these little black and white specks that dance all around in my vision field, and they kind of blink on and off and shine more intensively sometimes and float around and swirl around and stuff in front of my vision field. And I feel like, if I could just brush them out of the way, I could see past them and actually see something. But yeah, that's probably the best I can describe it. And my brow note went to sleep. Excuse me, 2 seconds. Don't go to sleep. We need the next question. And it's jumped all the way to question 10. Thank you, brow note. Ugh. ghosts. Excuse me, bear with me. Number 2, we need number 3. Number 3. What is the hardest thing to do being blind or vision impaired? Okay. I can think of a bunch of things that aren't easy, but I wouldn't call them the hardest things to do. Certainly relearning a lot of things over again is kind of crappy, but I don't think it would be the hardest thing to do. I'd say more a thing, like not a thing to do, but just something in general, is probably the well-meaning but misunderstanding ideas of the public, stereotypes and sort of stuff like that. I find that to be the hardest thing. And I suppose when it comes down to it, we can try and teach and advocate and educate people, but at the end of the day, we can't control other people's minds. We can only control what we think. So I'll put summary as the hardest thing about being blind and vision impaired is I can't control the thoughts of sighted people. And I'm being attacked by a low battery alarm. Shit. I hope I can get through this. Okay. Did it just stop recording video? Oh no, it didn't. Good. Shit. Why can't I record a video without something happening? 4. What is the best thing about being blind or vision impaired? Okay. I had to think about this for a while, but I've decided to come up with, I think it, in a way, it forces you to have better communication and listening skills. And it enables you to talk to people who probably, if you were sighted, you may not talk to them just based on what they look. I know, sometimes that can happen. People judge people by the way they look and think, oh, they look rough and nasty. I don't even want to say hello to them, or whatever. You pass them in the street, whatever. So, yeah, I think we don't judge as quickly as a lot of other people. 5. What question do you get asked the most because of or about your vision? Well, that's probably easy. By adults, probably what do you see? Or how much can you see? So along those lines. And probably from kids, what's wrong with your eyes? Kids, you gotta love them. But yeah, it's not too bad when kids ask that. But I'd hope adults would be a bit more tactful if they ask that. But anyway, if an adult asks that, that's what's wrong with them. Okay, number 4. Oh no, sorry. What number is it? Yeah, number 4. Okay. Do you have a cane, guide dog, or neither? I use a cane. I'm currently on the waiting list to get a guide dog. Yeah, I'd really like to be a guide dog person. So yes, cane person in transition. Mind you, if I wasn't using a guide dog, I'd probably like to go to the electronic stuff like ultra cane and stuff like that. Oh, I also use a GPS when I'm out and about, but anyway, regardless. 7. What one piece of advice would you give to someone who is losing, going to, or has lost their vision? Oh, that's a big one. That's a tough one. Geez. Okay, well, it's certainly not going to be easy, and it's not going to be fun. Um, it's going to be tough, um, but you can get through it. You can, you know, have a good support network, people around you, and even if they don't totally understand, like friends and family, they're still there for you. Um, it's up to you to try and help them to understand, and also reach out to those support services and those organizations. Don't be afraid to use their supports and services. It's not being weak, it's kind of the opposite. Actually, they're there to help you, and it's okay to be upset and all that, and pissed off and angry. That's totally cool. But yeah, don't think you're being weak by using those services. If anything, you're being practical and efficient. So yeah, you will get through. um 8. What one piece of advice? Oh yeah, 8. What one piece of advice would you give to a sighted person about interacting with someone who is vision impaired or blind? Okay, probably please try not to assume that, you know, we always need help, and we will ask if we need it, and please don't be upset if we say no, thank you, thanks for your help, but we'd like to do this. um, you know um, yeah, I'm not very good at elaborating on this one. I probably started off on the wrong foot, which is probably why I can't figure out what to say next. So just in summary, just don't be afraid of asking us a question. You're not really being rude. It's more easier for us to just answer your questions than it is for the awkwardness of people assuming stuff. And misinformation is probably what causes all the stereotypes. So the the best we can do is to get rid of that is to educate people. So yeah, and our way may not be as quick as yours, but it's more rewarding to be independent. Okay. Number 9. Why did you start YouTube? Okay, well, I started on YouTube because I've always been a tech head. I've always, been into computers and games and stuff. So I went from being a magnification type user, mouse user, computer user, to having to be a screen reader user, pretty much overnight. Maybe it wasn't quite overnight, it was a bit longer than that, but it felt like that. And I was literally cut off from technology for a good part of 6 months. I had no idea how to use the other accessible technology because I'd been pretty much a mainstream user of computers. I hardly knew any shortcuts except for copy and paste, and how to alt tab and stuff like that. My mouse, I just used the mouse all the time. My mouse had something like 20 buttons on it. It was a SteelSeries gaming mouse, and when I wasn't gaming with it, when I was in Windows, it would do all sorts of tasks. So I would just, click a button for whatever. I had it set up that way, even for Zoom text and stuff like that on this mouse. So going from that to having to use a screen reader with no prior knowledge, it was really bad. I had no one to teach me things like JAWS or NVDA. And you try and ask sighted people to help you who are just general users, and because they don't understand the different perspective of interacting with a computer in that way, same way a blind, or low vision person would, it doesn't work. Like, it's too hard to explain. So I went on a waiting list, and I had to wait 8 months just to get training with JAWS. But in the meantime, I was fortunate that I've got a friend who was able to teach me the basics of iPhone with VoiceOver. And then, I was able to access the internet and access more information and, right, how do I do this? How do I do that? And I went from there. But yeah, when you first start out, the idea of getting on the internet to download a tutorial on how to use JAWS when you can't even navigate to Windows Explorer or Firefox on your desktop, well, that's a little bit absurd. So I decided to get into audio recording to record my own how-tos of voiceover and things like that, to help people, because I figure the most accessible stuff is often the low-tech stuff. So, if they've got a CD player, stick it in the CD player and go from there. And then from there it grew onto YouTube. So I went into videoing and stuff. And question 10. Braille display has gone to sleep again, but I hope you guys haven't. But question 10, I remember what it was. It was tag 3 people to do this. So I tag the following channels. I tag Nut eQuest. I tag Life Beyond Our Darkness. And I tag Peter Elvich. Unless you've already done it. And in which case, I will be checking. No, you don't have to do it. But I will do what Samantha Colman did, and I will also add and say, I tag you listener who is watching this if you haven't done it already. Can't do it. If you're a YouTuber, you gotta do it. Cheers. Okay, and that's it for me. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope you guys have a good day. Peace out, and keep traveling.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you next time, smiley emoji.